Welcome again, Duelist, to the Mighty Dragoon as we enter into week number 6 of the Sealed Only Shaddoll Challenge. That's a really long word, let's hope I never have to say that again. Last week, we decided to dig into some Battles of Legend Armageddon, unfortunately having a rather bad opening for once. We only really drew into one card we could use, which was Invoked Purgatrio. But for this week, we're going to go a little bit of a different route, because, yeah, there are still things inside of Battles of Legend Armageddon that we need, but there is one more specific card that would give our deck a massive power boost. So, for this week, we're digging into Duel Overload. In Duel Overload, we are looking for Predaplant, Verte, Anaconda. Unsurprisingly, the fusion king of this format, so to speak. It would allow us to use any fusion card from our deck for free, essentially. It's incredible. So, let's quickly pull this off screen so that I can hopefully not rip and tear into the packaging too hard. But with me, you honestly never know. Why is there tape on like every single one of these? There doesn't need to be tape, guys. Come on, it's so. Because it says this pack has 30 brand new Link monsters, and it might have it. I don't really remember what was in this set other than. I know Haligraphax is in this set also. I don't think Hulk is going to be any useful for us though, but it's in there. And here we have an oversized tour guide from the Otherworld. I actually really enjoy these oversized cards. They're not, they're kind of nice to have just as like decoration. I might put it on my shelf over there, but yeah, tour guide from the Otherworld. But that's not the important part of this opening. The important part is, of course, the 6 packs of Duel Overload we will be opening today. 6 packs only. This is our entire budget for this week, as the Duel Overload comes in at a little around $19. But let's just dig in. 5 cards per pack. Some of the cards in this set are really, really good. Anaconda especially. Anaconda is the one that we really, really want. But again, drawing a Haligraphax is not exactly bad either. Hulk is, it's worth some money, at least. Not that I can sell it, but, Oh my... I forgot Union Carrier was in here. Right, last week when we spoke about the Buster Lock, Union Carrier could let us do that. So, Union Carrier, 2 monsters with the same type or attribute, cannot be used as Link material to turn to summoned. You can target one face-up monster you control, equip one monster from your hand or deck with the same original type or attribute. So, let's see if I still have the Buster Swordsman laying around here somewhere. I do. Type or attribute. Most of our cards are dark, so is the Buster Dragon. You can target one Buster Blade, you control, equip this monster from your hand and fit that target. While this card is equipped to a monster, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. Meaning, if we have 2 monsters, we can get Union Carrier onto the field and equip Buster Dragon to something that's not Buster Blader. And when it's equipped, our monster, or we could equip it to something like, I don't know, we could equip it to Construct, for example, right? We equip it to Construct, and now Construct can't be slain by special summon monsters, and our opponent can't special summon from the extra deck. Union Carrier is also worth, like $7? $7, I think? Then I'm gonna be honest, that's a fairly decent draw. I am not mad about that. I'm not entirely sure if we'll play it, but we'll keep it around. It's good. Mystical Space Typhoon, Malefic Territory, one of the Sephora's the Elite, and Androquilon Umbrella. Don't care. Union Carrier though, that's a pull, alright. That is a pull, alright. It's not the Link monster we wanted, but it's a pull nonetheless. Can't really complain about it. Alright, pack number 2. Oh look, it's Medoshi Punincess. Cute. Kingyo Sukhoi, Super Vehicle-roid Stealth Union, Hysteric Sign, Cybernetic Overflow. Nothing in that pack for us. I always like the Medolchi. Maybe I should have done sealed only Medolchi, but there's no starter deck for those. Oh my, I'm dumb. I'm just gonna rip and tear and injure every single card in here, presumably. Right, Awakening of the Possessed. I love this artwork, it's really cute. Speedroid Hexaucer. Daigusto Emerald. Magical Musketeer Starfire. Cyframe Overlord Omega. This is another one of those cards that we could actually potentially play. It just takes a tuner and a non-tuner monster, and it is a level, I believe level 8? Yeah, it's a level 8. So once per turn during the main step, you can banish both this card from field and one random card from your opponent's hand, essentially ripping a card out of their hand. Another possibility. Probably not, but it's there. It's nice to have one, if anything else. Who knows when that could get useful. Useful. I can't speak. Oh, Phantasme! If your opponent special summons a Link monster, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, draw cards equal to the number of Link monsters your opponent controls, then shuffle cards from your hand into your deck equal to the number of Link monsters they control. When an opponent activates a card or effect that targets a monster you control, you can discard one card and negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Phantasme is actually really good, and it might go into the side deck. I'm not complaining about that. King Dragon. Speedroid Marble Machine. Dreadnought Dreadnoid. Oh, damn it, it's a Samorg. I saw the blue and I thought that could be it, but no. No such thing. Unfortunate. Alright. Here we have Bajunki Ashihana. Watt Giraffe for some reason. DD Abyss King. Another MTS. Malefic Selector. Well, pulling a Phantasme is pretty cool. I mean, it's nice. Union Carrier is really nice too. Not that we most likely are going to play it for now, but if we ever feel like we need to, we can. Last one. Signet Mining. Wrong link again. Phantasmic Emperor. Damn it! Oh, piss. So many Link monsters, none of which we wanted. Unfortunate. But, on the other hand, these three cards are actually fairly good. Omega sees play, Union Carrier definitely sees play, so this is something worth for the binder. And Phantasme, I don't think I'm gonna add it yet, though having access to it is definitely worth having. Well, that's 3 more cards, and a whole load of nothing. Unfortunate there, but, you know, such is the way of sealed only. Buy your singles, kids. Anyway, I'm going to cut to myself for the week's duels. I'll see you all in a bit. Welcome to duel number 1, that this week is going to start off in the middle of the duel because unfortunately the first part of this episode corrupted, but we are up against Froglich. On their turn they set 2 and played Dupe Frog, and on our turn we managed to get Shekinaga, Apkalone, and a set Beast onto the board. Who? Unfortunately for us, during our turn, he does manage to go into Eldritch the Golden Lord, and we are sitting ducks, essentially. We go into the battle phase and beat over his Dupe Frog, which gives him a swap frog in hand, and use our Shekinaga to beat over one of his trap cards, which he flips the other one, and the Eldritch combo continues. You've pretty much all seen how the Eldritch combo goes. They play a bunch of trap cards, they play a bunch of shit that we can't get over, and Eldritch just keeps coming back over and over. Unfortunately for us, he is also playing Blackluster Soldier Link, which I had no idea you could run in Eldritch. He brings out Blackluster Soldier, I can't remember what the full name of it is, but it is the Link. Eldritch beats over Apkalone. Apkalone isn't destroyed by battle, thankfully, so it kind of just sits there. Beast activates, drawing us 2 cards, and we choose to ditch the Squamata to activate its effect, sending a Falco to special summon it to get as much value on the board as possible. At this point, he destroys our Shekinaga, or rather banishes our Shekinaga thanks to Blackluster Soldier's effect, and we are kind of sitting ducks once more. We do get a magical meltdown that we attempt to activate, but Conquistador says otherwise as he begins special summoning things, again destroying our magical meltdown. We activate Falco's effect to try and bring Beast back to the board in order to draw us into something that could possibly save us. Or sorry, Dragon is what we play first, yeah. Then we activate Aliester, we have no invocation available to us, so we go into Union Carrier. Yeah, I decided to put Union Carrier to the deck. We equip Buster Sword to our Shekinaga, which brings it up to 3,500 and locks him out of the extra deck. We beat over his Blackluster Soldier because there's no point in crashing into Eldritch as it'll just come back. He activates another one of his trap cards, special summoning the Ash Blossom. And he now has a full board, which is slightly terrifying, but at the same time, this means most of his trap cards are kind of dead, and because of the Buster Lock, he can't actually use his extra deck for anything. He goes straight into combat using Eldritch to beat over our Union Carrier and passes the turn to us. We flip open Shaddoll Dragon in order to return one of his trap cards to his hands, but it ends up being Palisoic Alchemides, not Alchemides, I can't pronounce all of these cards.
which essentially flips the Buster Dragon to the graveyard. We end up using Super Poly, attempting to banish his Eldritch, but his last set manages to bring it back again. Construct activates, destroying Eldritch, which doesn't do anything because it's just going to come back again. Apkalon swings into another one, and we're sitting ducks again. No cards in our hand. Our opponent begins doing the Eldritch combo once more, which now ignores Construct effect, meaning we are essentially down and dead with nothing to do. We await our eternal demise, but our opponent sits there for a while, and we go, oh, has he left the game? Has he not realized that Eldritch gets over-constructed? I'm literally sitting here for a few moments going, But, no, we're not that lucky. It should also be mentioned that the rating for our Dueling Nexus is now on the left side, and we ended up in silver rank from the last episode. And on Dueling Nexus, you have bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and then Grandmasters, which is our essential goal. Our opponent does swing into Apkalon eventually, going into Nightmare Unicorn, and then managing to draw into a freaking Access Code Talker. We attempt a Foolish Burial, thinking, is there anything here we can do to actually get rid of this? And the only real option we have is to set a Hedgehog. Hope he doesn't have a way of actually swinging over it, or beyond it, drawing into a Shaddoll Fusion, going into Construct, and hopefully killing it. He normal summons his Frog, swinging into Hedgehog, which saves us from some damage, getting us a Shaddoll Fusion. We activate it, we attempt to go into Construct, which we managed to do. We also managed to flip up Falco, which does nothing, because I was stupid. And then we realized that we can't target Exo Talker with attacks currently, because the Frog was in the way. We do bash the Frog gets its effect to special summon Ronin Totem. He uses Swap Frog from his hand, which starts the Frog combo of all things. And then he's Eldritch with freaking totally awesome. I don't know what to say. This is a silver game. He does end up managing stealing my Construct, which essentially spells doom for us because every single card we're going to use is going to be special summoned, and we can't really fight our own Construct with limited resources, so we simply scoop. Game number 2, we activate Magical Meltdown, which is a good start for us going into Aliester. Attempting to activate Aliester draws us an Invocation. Invocation manages to go into Mechaba turn 1, and we have 2 Twin Twisters set. We take our Clown back from the graveyard, take our Aliester back to the hand, set a Twin Twister, and pass the turn. We're keeping one Twin Twister in hand in case he has a spell we need to negate, like this one. Hoping he doesn't have his Eldritch in hand, we simply choose to negate the Golden Straw. He sets 4 passes. We decide to Twin Twister 2 of them away, which turns out to be the wrong hit as we hit Conquistador. Regardless, we do decide to set our Super Poly, activate our Aliester, but his last card in hand is an Ash, which is really, really bad for us. I end up thinking if we can lock him out of the extra deck, but there is no possibility for doing so. He manages to get his Eldritch onto the board anyway, and now he has the Frog combo as well. It's just looking straight up bad. During his turn, he takes a moment to think about his actions. He dubs the Frog, gets Swap Frog onto the board, Swap Frog's effect activate, picks it back up, and the Frogs just keep on hopping like they should. We have no cards in hand to negate with, because I was hoping to have an Invocation to do so. He goes into Blackluster Soldier again. Eldritch comes back out, and at this point, it is looking bleak. He gets his Frogs back as well. He goes into the battle phase, beats over our Mechaba. He then chooses to banish the Clown. Question marks. He ends his turn, we get into a Shaddoll Hedgehog, but at this point, we know we're out of there. With one loss down the drain, we are up against Harpie Ladies. I say that with a question mark because I didn't even know this was still an archetype, but this is a ranked game, and to be fair, we're pretty low ranked currently, so it's Wild Man, I suppose. Anything goes. Our opponent normal summons Perfumer, which I actually had to take a good 30 seconds to read because I didn't even know that was a card, which draws him Elegant Egotist. Elegant Egotist gets activated, which is his only special summon for the turn, and he brings out Harpie Lady 1. He then activates the Hunting Grounds, which essentially whenever he normal special summons a Harpie Lady, he gets to pop a back row. But he already summoned for this turn, so it does nothing. Yeah, this is going to be a game of doing absolutely nothing for the most part. Our opponent then activates the trap card that I can't remember the name of. It's like Beauty to Dance, whatever. Essentially, it targets a creature and makes sure that it can't be destroyed this turn. Oh no, we can't activate monster effects, that's what it is. So he beats over Beast, which doesn't let us draw any cards, but it is what it is. Mathematician comes out. We decide to dump just a dragon in order to destroy his back row, because we don't really care about the hunting ground too much. Winda swings in and destroys one of his Harpie Ladies. Mathematician is a sitting duck, but we don't mind. We also have a Super Poly set, but all of the Harpie ladies are wind, and we have no wind target in our deck except... no, actually, we have none. We took out Wendigo ages ago. We end up using Super Poly to fuse into Shekinaga, just to avoid Mathematician getting destroyed, essentially. We then go with Shekinaga, beat over his Harpie lady. The effect of his spell card activates that states whenever it is destroyed by battle, he can special summon another one. He goes into Perfumer. Harpie Lady Hunting Grounds is forced to pop a back row, meaning he has to pop his own thing, and I just choose to negate his Perfumer, but unfortunately he brings another one back. We simply set the Super Poly. Harpie Lady effects come again. He could draw a card to hand, but we decide to ash it, because honestly, do we even know what's going on here? I'm sitting here thinking, he has 14 cards in his extra deck, so most reasonably there's something in there, right? But I have no idea what it could be, like level 4 spam. Am I gonna see Utopia the Lightning? No! I see Ice Beast Segard, whatever the hell it's pronounced, the Ice Beast, which essentially negates monsters on the board, and he gains 300 attack whenever he does so, but Shekinaga is still bigger than him. Regardless, he activates the Harpie Lady trap that lets us special summon as many Harpie Ladies as possible, and then I realize, yeah, this is definitely a level 4 spam deck. We simply choose to destroy the Ice Beast again, because let's be honest, it's the only threat on his board so far. We go into Incarnation, setting a dragon just in case. He again activates Elegant Egotist, and this gets the big Harpie Lady onto the board. I believe that is the biggest Harpie Lady that's not a level 5. Correct me if I'm wrong, Harpie Lady players. And then he goes into Raid Falco, which I was like, okay, at this point I fully understand that this is a level 4 spam deck, and that's interesting, because it's not something I've seen. He does beat it to Shekinaga, but Shekinaga draws us El Shaddoll Fusion back. Dragon, here I actually choose not to return his Raid Raptor, because that would mean that Shaddoll Fusion is offline, which we really need to do at this point. During his turn, he resummons his Harpie Lady. It is forced to pop a back row again, and he decides to pop itself, which it can do. And then he brings out Harpie's Phantasmal Pent Dragon, which I think I've only ever seen once, and I realized just how good this card actually is. We go into Construct to make sure that we can beat over literally anything he summons at this point. Setting Escamada, getting a card off of Beast. The thing is, the dragon cannot be targeted with attacks or effects, so it's literally stuck there, and it can attack us directly. And it has 2,000 attack, and if you can spot it, we're on 5,900 life points, so I'm like, hold on, am I actually about to lose to Harpie Ladies? Is this a thing? He goes into his battle phase and beats us for 2,000, but thankfully we have the turtle. We activate the turtle, but it's negated! So I'm sitting there like, oh shit! What are we doing here? Our Construct can't kill it, so what we do is we flip open Falco, getting Shekinaga back to the board, and we can't attack anything still. That dragon is literally screwing with us. Here comes the Harpie Lady Sisters, which is the level 6, I believe. The old school Harpie Ladies. And this dragon could literally end the game here. He bashes in with Harpie Lady Sisters over our unfortunate Falco. And then he brings the other Harpie Lady that I can't remember, the Harpie Lady Link that they have. We flip up Shekinaga. This time we can thankfully destroy his dragon. And we can destroy his Link, leaving him with no board, us on 550 life points. And if he gets another one of those dragons, we are screwed. The thing with the dragon is it can only be safe as long as it has materials to it, and it loses one material every turn, so we're able to beat over it and end the duel. After this, our opponent disconnects and giving us the match win. Now for the third game, I want you to seriously not blink, because you'll miss what's about to happen. We're playing up against Pot of Greed. We start off fairly strong with a magical meltdown in our hand that we decide to play immediately, going into Aliester. Aliester is going to get normal summoned onto the board. We're going to draw an invocation, and yeah. Our opponent does not actually rage quit. He surrenders first, then closes the window. So I guess we draw 2 cards and we win. That's going to be a bye for us. Duel number 4, we're going up against Dark Magicians, which has been a while since I've seen, but it is an interesting deck nonetheless. We activate our invocation as we first turn go into Shekinaga and an Aliester, activating Magical Meltdown as well, drawing into a second Aliester, thankfully, thanks to our single Allure of Darkness. We pass to our opponent with Shekinaga on the board, our opponent knowing that we can't negate anything, and he activates Dark Magical Circle. At this point, I realize that we're going to need to beat this deck down quickly if we are to actually win, because if Dark Magicians manage to establish a board, they will outvalue us in the fact that they banish everything on our board. Our opponent drops a Soul Servant, sets 3, and passes turn. So we go into Shaddoll Incarnation, bringing it back a Beast, hoping that we can draw 2 more cards that won't get negated thanks to something like Magician's Navigation. He passes turn. We immediately flip open the Beast, attempting to activate it, which, thankfully, goes through. Or does it? Dun dun dun! Yeah, it goes through. I'm just joking with you. We end up discarding a dragon, popping his Dark Magical Circle, knowing that that's the strongest card he has available. And to this, our boy decides to chain Magician's Navigation. He won't actually get any banish off of this, because that chain would take place afterwards, but he does get 2 Dark Magicians on the board, which is bad. At this point, we decide to activate our face-down El Shaddoll Fusion, going into a window to attempt to prevent him from special summoning anything else. We do get a Squamata, we do drop a Wendy. We attempt to activate Wendy's effect, which also goes through. And we decide to drop a dragon onto the board in case he goes into the Dark Magicians or the Ebon Illusion Magician, which would be the 2 worst case scenarios in this scenario. We then decide to use our Shaddoll Incarnation to go to Dragon and attempt to flip it up. And here I'm a stupid because I forgot that I popped a back row during this turn. Dum-dum. He does activate Fiendish Shane on our Shekinaga, which is interesting, meaning we can't actually attack anything, and that leaves his board with 2 Dark Magicians, which is bad. So, right now I'm sitting here, okay, how do I deal with Dark Magicians, and especially how do I deal with Ebon Illusion? Ebon Illusion wouldn't do anything on its first turn, but I don't have anything on the board strong enough to beat over it now that Fiendish Chain has hit Shekinaga. Luckily for me, he actually goes into the Dark Magicians instead. So we immediately activate Super Poly, dumping our window to get a new window, just to try and prevent him from extending anything. This does mean he can get his Ebon Illusion Magician for free, but it is far better than him having both, or drawing any more cards, because, hey, we kind of want to outlast him. He does beat over our window eventually, which is unfortunate, but we decide to activate Shaddoll Fusion. We go into Shekinaga, dumping an Ariel. Most importantly, dumping an Ariel so we can get rid of anything in his graveyard. But the 2 Dark Magicians are still attached, unfortunately. We actually go into Union Carrier here. The Buster Lock comes through once again, and our Shekinaga is now a 3.5k beat stick, and he does not have an extra deck. We pass our turn on that, but he activates Eternal Soul. Eternal Soul is going to bring back a Dark Magician, unfortunately for us. But he simply sets 1 and passes, which is very good. He does destroy our Union Carrier, which is unfortunate, but we kind of expect that. It's done its job. It's fine. He activates Dark Magic Attack, which would have destroyed our Super Poly, and I clicked the wrong fusion, meaning I have to make a Shekinaga again thanks to my chubby little fingers not doing what they're supposed to. We do end up dumping a dragon, destroying his Eternal Soul, which wipes his board, thankfully, but that was one of the dumbest things I think I've ever done, because I could have easily won the following turn. I set a Falco, I punch in with Shekinaga, and then I just wait. He sets a back row, which isn't anything. We flip open Falco, we get Apkalon back onto the board. We go into battle phase, beat him for all the damage we need to. He activates it's Magician's... I can't remember, Magician's Summoning Circle? Regardless, it lets you special summon a level 6 or lower spellcaster from your deck, so we actually get... we actually go into Trick Clown, which allows us to use our Shaddoll Fusion to go into Construct, which is hilarious that it worked that way, but regardless. After this, our opponent sort of realizes that he can't really do anything, and he scoops. We then go into Game 2, which our opponent times out during the side decking, which means we get a win for this one. Neat. Heart of the Bards, I know you're watching this, and this is how you deal with dinos. Our last duel for today, there are 2 main things that have happened. 1, our rating has actually increased to gold, thanks to the fact that we've got 3 previous wins. And we're playing up against a deck that we haven't really beaten before. Now, dinos are really, really hard for us to get over, and this is the butt-clenching duel, because This is the most interactive duel I think I've ever had coming back to Yu-Gi-Oh! As the start of last year. Our opponent manages to get the Dino combo off fairly well, getting both his glittery little crocodile as well as Oviraptor onto the board with Lost World, meaning he can essentially pop off very easily, and our starting turn was horrible. Only having an Aliester, but having it gammed so we don't get an invocation, and setting 2. Our opponent goes into Oviraptor, manages to drop the Have You Read Misc card, goes into Secure Gardna and into Evolzar, double pilling on his Conductor Tyranno, and oh boy, this is not good. We go down to 2,200 life points immediately, and we attempt to activate a Shaddoll fusion. Reading Dolka, we know for a fact that we can't actually get over it, so we need to go into Apgalone to shut it down first. Apgalone's effect will target Dolka, Dragon's effect will pop Lost World, and that's essentially it. We're sitting here now as a sitting duck, and we manage to special summon a Squamata. We go into Aliester attempting to activate it, but he is going to flip us down, to which we chain El Shaddoll Fusion going into Winda, hoping to protect as much as possible. But our cards still get flipped face down because we can't really deal with UTC. Dolka attempts to activate its effect but is negated, but that does give him misc into the graveyard, which is where it wants to be. We manage to go into Purgatrio thanks that he doesn't have a negate. We boost it with Aliester, and in the most glorious fashion I think ever made, we punch over every single one of his monsters using Purgatrio. You have no idea how good that felt when it happened. I was ecstatic. Unfortunately, our opponent immediately pops a double evolution pill again, meaning he's bringing out another UTC that we can't really stop. UTC ends up, he does get his giant Rex back as well. Everything on our field just gets flipped face down. We go for an Incarnation, but I forget that UTC can pop things without it, which means I should have gone for something else. He simply bashes over all of our monsters. We take 1,000 damage for each, and we lose game 1. Game number 2, this game took unedited 45 minutes. Our starting hand is god-awful. We simply set 1, set a back row, and pass. Our opponent immediately goes into Lost World once again, and having a thought for a moment, he does have the tiny Crocodile. Crocodile manages to... He doesn't actually dump anything with Crocodile this time. He goes into Linkaribo, goes into Secure Gardna, then Double Evolution Pill comes. So we know a UTC is hitting, which is unfortunate. He attempts to battle us, and we want him to get rid of the token, so that's fine, but the second he tries to do something else, we flip open Lost Wind, meaning he can no longer flip our cards face down, and his attack is halved. And our turtle saves the day. The Durdle Turtle is ready for action. He has nothing that can beat over it right now, so we simply decide to set a Squamata, which will allow us to pop something on his field the next turn. During this, I'm sitting wondering where his combo is going to go off now that he doesn't have any dinosaurs on the grave, so he simply goes in and attacks. Squamata's going to pop Secure Gardna because I would rather keep the very low UTC on the board for now. We set a Hedgehog, hoping that we can draw into, or rather that he attacks it doing anything else. He activates Misc, and at this point, have you read Misc? Because that's getting DD-crowed. I want nothing to do with Misc. Misc can piss off. Shaddoll Hedgehog gets flipped, giving us an El Shaddoll fusion that will now allow us to go into anything useful. We activate it, and we decide to go into Construct, dumping our Falco and our Turtle on the board. Construct's effect activates, but gets Ash Blossomed, unfortunately, but we still get to special summon our Falco back. We then set an Aerial, punch over his lowered UTC, and now we await the judgment of our opponent. He passes turn, because he doesn't really have anything else to do in this case. We attempt to end the game in this turn, but would you guess he has the Gamma? We decide, no Gamma-ing for you. We drop the Ash Blossom to prevent this from getting countered, because now we know he has a Gamma in his hand. He drops another Double Evolution Pill, which is just awful. He gets another UTC onto the board, to where he gets the token, and when he attempts to activate the effect of UTC, we Ghost Ogre it to get it off of the field permanently. All of our cards, unfortunately, do get flipped back up, and then we see he has a rock in his hand, which we dodged by 1 summon. Fortunately for us, our Hedgehog, unfortunately, gets Ash Blossomed. We decide to use his token to summon a beast, and then we go into Shaddoll Construct, which is one of the rare occasions where we need to be able to fuel our spells. Our Falco gets Gammed, which was kind of what I expected. We decide to shut down Lost World, meaning he needs another one if he wants to go in for it. We just decide to beat in and destroy the 2 monsters because we can. We don't really care about them being banished. He does draw into a Terraforming, which does give him another Lost World, going into Oviraptor. Oviraptor starts the combo all over again. It's incredible the amount of times that they can just get their combo going. Misc hits the board, and yeah, we know Misc is coming. So instead of popping our Solemn Strike or anything, now that Oviraptor is going off, which I believe was the Oviraptor, he wants to add something to his hand, we Solemn Strike it. We don't want to deal with it whatsoever. He does get to drop a Pterodon, which brings out Pankratops of all things. Pankratops hits the board, and so does his giant, Rex. They go into Evolsar Darga, which fortunately in this case doesn't do anything. The Pankratops is going to get sacrificed to pop our Construct, which gets us the Lost One back from Evolsar, and as we attempt to activate Construct and bring us back to our hand, we get nothing. Abkalon simply goes over Darga and beats it in the face as we draw an Effect Veiler, which isn't really useful for us right now, as we can't target anything thanks to the token. We simply go in for 2k points of damage and pass the turn again, which I now realize I should have set that Called by the Grave, because he drops another Misc! Guys, have you read Misc? It's pretty strong. He goes into a level 4, which is going to be his last Oviraptor, but I can't Lost Wind it because I have a token on the board, and I forgot this. Giant Rex comes out, which now has a massive 4k attack, and we now have 2 tokens on the board, meaning we're kind of screwed. During this, he goes into Nightmare Phoenix. I'm not entirely sure why, but our Abkalon does get beaten over. We take 2k points of damage, and at this point, we're looking pretty bad. We go into our Aliester, summon the Aliester, quickly begin realizing that we don't really have any outs in the current moment for that token, so we are forced to go into a Link monster. We decide to go into the Aliester Link just to get rid of the token. We drop Invocation, going into Purgatrio, but Purgatrio is not strong enough to beat over the Rex, and it's horrible. We're kind of sitting ducks right now because there is nothing we can really do, so we are forced to sacrifice our Abkalon going into Construct, activating Construct's effect in order to Fusion Summon, popping Lost World, then activating the effect as stated, going into Construct, activating the effect of Aliester to sack the Aliester to get Invocation, and after all of this, we get Nibiru'd! I don't even know what to say. There's been an answer for everything this game so far, and I've gone insane. I was so close to breaking the Dino board, but then the giant meteor of death and destruction hits. I do pop the Invocation going into a Mechaba. Not really that it can do much. I do decide to set the El Shaddoll fusion, even though I really shouldn't have, in retrospect. But he ends up just setting one, destroying Mechaba, which actually gives us the win. We defeat him with a Nibiru token. Whew! This has had me on my seat the entire duel. The entire 40 minutes I spent was action-packed. Game number 3. Our opponent decides to go first, popping Pot of Extravagance, which we Ash Blossom immediately because we don't want him to gain any advantage. And it turns out it wouldn't have mattered because he has 3 other ways of starting his combo. Misc hits the grave, special summons our Crocodile friend, giving us a token, giving him the double evolution pill, Giant Rex gets activated, pops onto the board, Linkariba comes out, Secure Gardener comes out, Oviraptor's on the board. Oh boy, I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be real bad. Pterodon gets drawn to his hand, because probably has a way to dump it, I would assume. Our opponent then goes into Abyss Dweller, of all things. He knows I'm going to mess him up, so he's setting up everything protective. Ultimate Conductor Tyranno hits the board, and we, amazingly enough, actually have an out. We attempt to activate Magical Meltdown, which does give us an Aliester, but we instead set the Squamata to not trigger a chain. We end up super polying away his UTC going into Construct. Construct, at the end, dumping us our usual combo, which he activates Abyss Dweller for, which is unfortunate. Wendy's effect still activates, thankfully. Super Poly gets set, we beat over his Abyss Dweller, and the only thing he has left is a Secure Gardener. He sets 1 card, passes turn. We flip open Beast, draw into 2 card, dump our El Shaddoll fusion because we don't care, beat over his Gardener, Construct beats over his Pterodon, which doesn't get its effect because it has to be by card effect, hehehehe. His field is completely empty, as it turns out in the chat, he bricked really damn bad. Thankfully for us, this means we can go in with everything, gather our resources in our hand to make sure nothing happens. We end up just DD crowing away his UTC, because at this point, I'm ecstatic at the fact that I've essentially beat Dinos. We just go in, smack him as hard as we can. You'll see the aspect change here because the recording got a little bit screwed up, so I had to restart it. Sorry about that. It is fixed for the next duels. But we beat in, and we end the duel victorious! For the first time, I think, in the entire series so far, we actually come out of an episode positive. We have taken 3 wins, 1 loss, and earned ourselves a massive 6 starships. Holy crap. I can't believe the fact that we've finally gotten ourselves somewhere. I don't know what to say. That Dino Duel has literally kept me off my seat ever since I played it. It was hilariously good. I want every single duel I play to be as interactive as that one. Shout out to that guy, by the way. He asked me for the channel link because he was really interested in what I'm playing, so if you watch it, there you go, friend. Regardless, I'd like to thank all of you for watching this far. This has been a very exciting episode trying out running the Buster Lock in Shaddolls, and I have to say, it's shocking how effective it is, because it forces any opponent that uses the extra deck to answer it immediately. Otherwise, they just essentially get shut down. It's been great fun to try. I may actually keep it for the next episode as well. I haven't really decided what I want to do with it, but hey, as long as it's working, I think it's sticking around. As always, though, if you liked the video, leave a like. It helps a lot. You'd be shocked. Click the subscribe button if you want to see more stuff like this, or potentially more things that I have in the works. Who knows? Maybe you just enjoy my voice. No one will know. Remember, stay safe out there. It's dangerous times. Wear your face masks, for crying out loud. They keep you safer than what you would have been without them. As always, I'll see you around, lads.